but Luce has not been received warmly by everyone. So what are some critics objecting to?
Yeah, I think
apart from the concerns about the artist.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the most serious criticisms have been along this line, namely, Luce is unserious. So it's like, okay, here we are. We have been baptized, confirmed, in some cases ordained. So we have been marked with Christian consecration, which has permanently configured us to participate in the priesthood of our Lord Jesus Christ. And that's like serious business. And so the idea that we would, in an effort to make the church somehow relevant or somehow more pertinent to a younger audience, like distance ourselves from more sober or otherwise grave signs of our affiliation, take up this thing which is, by comparison to what we have done in the past, so kind of like light and funky, seems like a kind of betrayal. You know, so I think you've had like a lot of criticism in the last, 55 years, especially about the damning effects of trying to make the church relevant.
Right.
Because in that effort, there's a kind of tacit infidelity where you don't actually believe that God is God and that he does God things. You're like, oh, well, we have to bring these people along because God won't, because he's left the world to us, his servants, and it's our responsibility to exercise stewardship of a certain sort. So what we're going to do is just look at the ambient culture and then deploy everything within that culture that people find attractive as an effort to get them on our side. But it ends up being like kind of socio-political rather than genuinely ecclesial, because it's born of a kind of infidelity, or it's born of a tacit despair that God is at work in the world and that he can have his way. Whereas when you just point awesomely and adamantly to God, to his Christ, to the cross through which he saves, people will always find that relevant because it corresponds deeply to our nature. So there's a kind of fear, not fear, but there's a kind of concern there that we're actually failing to receive the patrimony and betraying the riches with which we have been entrusted. Father Bonaventure, if you had the choice between holding a toad and subscribing to a YouTube channel, what would you choose?
Subscribe to a toad holding a YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh. Please subscribe to a toad holding a YouTube channel, especially if it's ours. Cheers.